Dost thou covet thy neighbor's stuff, viewers? Today, we're going to go get some on Let's Play Ultima 4. First, however, we have some errands to run. For one thing, as long as I'm in this area here, I want to go by Moonglow, which is just south of here on Verity Isle, and coming around the east side of it here. Because I want to restock on both reagents and food while I'm there. Moonglow has pretty good prices for both, I believe. So, Moonglow, of course, is at the south end of Verity Isle. Just got to go around all these shoals into this small harbor area next to it. Slowly. Of course, when I was testing this earlier, I got perfect wind the whole way. There we go, at least that part's easy. So, nothing too interesting here, I'll just go right back in, take care of it, and be right back. One thing I forgot to mention is that I also want to stop by the healer in Moonglow, because my HP is still pretty low after Deceit. If I haven't done it before, healing is pretty simple here. It's 200 gold to heal a single party member up to full. Usually it's totally not worth it, but I'm a long way from Lord British right now. The downside of using the healers is that you actually have to sacrifice to them, because you're a good person. Isn't that terrible? So, almost always, if you have a lot of HP, they will demand that you give them 100 pints of blood, or points, or whatever. And if you refuse, especially if you've already been elevated in sacrifice, you will lose your elevation. So don't do that. Okay, so after having done that, as I mentioned, I have nearly full HP minus my sacrificial hit points. I also have another 300 food. Food in Moonglow is basically just 1 gold for 1 unit of food with some extra math involved. And as for my reagents, I've bought up to 9 of everything, just to restock. I don't have any particular plans for it beyond one thing, but anyway. The next thing I want to do is go more or less due west of the south end of Verity Isle here, and that will take me to Buccaneer's Den. Now that I have over 5,000 gold after all the treasure I got in Deceit, there is an important weapon that I am able to go to Buccaneer's and buy a little earlier than I intended, so I'm going to do that. This is a really boring sale, so I'm probably going to edit out most of it. Alright, here we are. In case you get lost at sea, that's the location of Buccaneer's Den, roughly enough. JNII. So, what I want to do here at the Buccaneer's Den weapon shop, which I haven't looked at all as a mage yet, but now that I have 5,000 gold, I can actually afford a magic wand here. The most powerful ranged weapon in the game. Only mages and I think druids can use it, and it costs, of course, 5,000 gold. Get out of the weapon shop loop here. There we go. That is pretty much the only weapon upgrade that is really relevant to a mage character. Now that I finally have it, I am going to be able to get through combats a lot faster. Not that anything's terribly dangerous with just the sling, I'm perfectly fine with that, but it's just really slow sometimes. Okay, so I'm gonna go straight south from here. I'm going to go straight south from here. Against the wind. Oh, come on, game. I'm going to go straight south from here, more or less, around the island where Serpent's Castle is, and that will wrap me around to that peninsula north of here where Minok is. I'm going to do that off-screen because it's going to take forever. I will be right back. Okay, the wind finally changed, so you can see me sailing south around the edge of the world there, because that's just how maps work. And that takes me to this bit of land around Minok here. Okay, so first thing I want to do, you may recall that earlier the Minok Moongate appears on this strip of grass over to the east of it. You may also recall that we were told by someone or other, I don't remember who, that to get to the Shrine of Spirituality, you can only get there by entering the Gate of the Full Moons. And what that means is you enter the Moon Gate when both moons are in the full phase. That combination happens to be the one that happens at the Minok Gate, which opens at the full moon. And since they both align at full, we can do that at Minok. So, in just a moment here, I am going to save in advance so I can do my normal thing with the shrines. And as soon as it opens, I step in, and I find myself in the one shrine that doesn't actually tell me ahead of time what I want to meditate on. This is the Shrine of Spirituality. So we'll start with the one cycle meditation as always. Alright, the mantra of spirituality, of course, is Om, not to be confused with Am. And we learn that we need to talk to Hawkwind. Be more spiritual. Thanks, game. Alright. Just gonna reload and do the next one. Something I did not realize until I tried reloading here is that the moons appear to reset at double new moons whenever you reload, which is a pain for waiting around for the moon gate for spirituality here, but whatever. We learned that we need to meditate. Alright, I'll work on that, game. Alright, here is my elevation in spirituality. And as always, we get one of these visions, which is an arrow pointing north. We're already as far north as it can go. No, that's actually the rune for T you would get from the manual. So, now I just went north. Anyway, I'm going to save here, and then as always, I'll go back and meditate again once my meditation timer expires again, just to get the normal 3-cycle message. I will be right back. And the game's last piece of spiritual wisdom for us is... We already knew that. Well, okay, I guess that's another way you could learn that if you really didn't want to go through the normal quest to talk to the ghost, or whatever. But there it is. I think there's actually no way to lose spirituality in normal gameplay, so... I guess they didn't have a third message to give you that was pertinent to that. Anyway, I'm going to reboot and go back to just after I got my enlightenment. Be right back. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I also want to stop by Minok really quick. Just because there is one last piece of a quest chain that I am supposed to follow up on here. You will recall we were told, asking about the Skull of Mundane in the Buccaneer's Den pub, that there was someone named Jude who knew where it was, and that this Jude person is very, very poor. Well, the only place in... It's not true. The most visible place in Britannia where there are actually poor people is the poorhouse in Minok. And indeed, we come to the poorhouse, and I believe we met him earlier, but this person right here in the middle is Jude. You ask him about the skull, and he used it. The world didn't end? Can't be that terrible. He will only tell us where it is if we swear never to use it and only to destroy it. I don't think I like that deal. Oh, he says. That is definitely the response of someone who is forever traumatized by an act of evil that sets ruin to the world and abolishes virtue forever. Let's try that again. Sure. That's fine, whatever. And we learn those coordinates, PF, MF, where we can find the skull on the darkest night. Just like the hidden reagents, we do need to search for it strictly during the new moon phase. At some point, I will take care of that. For now, however, I actually want to get around to the next dungeon, which is right over here in the area of Minok. You go all the way around this peninsula where Minok is. It's in the mountains down here, where you can only reach it by boat. And of course the wind is being completely uncooperative. There it is. Alright, I'm gonna save outside here, and let's see what happens in the dungeon of Covetous. No unusual spellings or anything this time. Covetous is pretty straightforwardly the opposite of sacrifice, I guess. Even though it's an adjective, not a noun, but whatever. Okay, so once we get into Covetous here, on the first floor, these two paths just take us around to two doors that lead into the same room. You could go on around there, don't worry about it though, that just takes you to dead ends. There's a curing fountain if you really need it, but the only reason I can imagine you needing it is if you blunder into the poison fields that are also in one of those dead ends, so just don't go that way. Instead, come in here. There's a few of these basic undead, nothing too special. You can hopefully see that with the magic wand I am dealing lethal damage to them a lot faster. Only thing is make sure that you don't stand right next to a wall with a ghost in it, because then you can't hit the ghosts. Now, the exit you want is actually right there. You need to step right there. You can't walk through the corpses, by the way, just so you know. With that taken care of, that takes you straight to the door here, down to the second floor. Now, the second floor, just like certain lightning-themed games, happens to be just a long, narrow hallway. With nothing to do except walk straight forward and go wherever the game wants you to go, fighting any random battles that happen to pop up along the way. It's just a spiral, and eventually you end up at a ladder. Just go straight down. Done. So, third floor, there's nothing to do except go into this set of rooms that are themed as being sort of like a set of orc caves. So there are, of course, trolls accompanying the orcs, so the main thing I want to do is try to get as much out of their line of sight as I can. If the orcs will let me. and make it as difficult as possible for them to line up ranged attacks on me. I don't have a great plan for doing that in this first room here, so we'll just do the best we can. This would be much more of a pain if I didn't have this magic wand. And just like a good avatar, we track that orc into the cave where it's cowering and slaughter it. Because it's okay when they're evil. So we go straight into another room. Similarly, I just want to stay out of the troll's line of sight while taking pot shots at the orcs wherever I can. Fortunately, in here, the trolls tend to get stuck in that cave in the northwest that they spawn in, so you're usually not going to have all of them shooting at you at once. Okay. Don't bother going to the west from here. There's another room full of orcs and a magic orb over there. In Covetous, I think that would raise, what, the opposites of love and courage, which are... or the corresponding attributes of love and courage, which I think are dexterity and strength. I'm not worried about it in any case. What you actually want to do is step right there. That opens a passageway to the north. Alright, in this one, I want to duck into this first passage with the orcs as quickly as I can. Clear out the orcs as quick as I can. And now I should be able to step out of here as I need to avoid any of the trolls coming out of the other cave. Now, there is an Eaton in this group. And I definitely don't want it lined up to take missile attacks on me. Fortunately, everything is dying pretty quickly again with the magic wand. The way damage rolls work in this game, I believe, your minimum damage is always 1. So even though the magic wand has a much higher maximum damage than the sling, it's like 192 versus 32 or something. I don't have the stats in front of me, so I'm not sure, but something like that. But because the minimum is always 1 for any weapon, there is still the chance that you can hit an enemy with the magic wand and still only deal a couple of points of damage. Alright, this room, all the trolls are down towards the entrance, so I'm going to try to get past there as quickly as possible. And get into one of these corners. Probably ideally come this way. And then as they come around that corner, I'll pick them off one by one. Come on. Alright, next. Alright, at this point I think I can take care of that one while the other one is wandering around aimlessly in the cave. I would prefer not to leave the room, then I'd have to start all over. Thank you. Done. I think that's the last one? Yes. Alright, here, just keep going through that door. Both of these passages just lead to ladders that go to the same place in the same floor, more or less. For my convenience, I'm going to go straight this way, though. And go eventually to this ladder up here in the north. Just puts me in a slightly better position on the next floor. Okay, so level 4. Alright, so show you a gem here. There's a bunch of doors and a bunch of traps and a couple of rooms that are in the way of that down staircase. You can barely make out the down arrow. I want to go to the room that's to the east of the ladder there. That's a slightly easier room. Those traps, I will tell you, are all winds, so nothing too dangerous, but you will need at least one more torch. So I come west one time, I go south twice again through another one of those doors. I'm not going to light the torch again, but just trust me, if I go west from here again, that's going to take me into that room I showed you. First, however, I want to make sure that I mix another dispel use, which is the main reason I wanted to buy reagents while I was over there at Moonglow. ACF. One day I will remember that. Now I just go on into the room. So, here I've got these liches, which I don't think I have demonstrated yet. They are undead, as you would expect. For some reason, I think I tried using the undead spell to get them to flee once and it didn't work on them, so they may have specific resistance to that somehow. Besides that, they have ranged attacks that you're probably hearing. They have 192 hit points. They deal up to 23 damage, and you get 13 EXP from them. They are sort of dangerous, but happily, now that I have my wand, I should be able to eliminate them reasonably quickly. Yeah, there we go. I one-shotted one of them. You may be wondering why they're just floating heads instead of skeletons or whatever that you might expect. I believe in Dungeons & Dragons, which of course the author was heavily inspired by, the traditional skeleton is a basic lich, but super evolved liches with some name I don't recall offhand are actually just floating skulls, so there's some D&D inspired reason behind it, at least. Now, I'm just gonna pull up my map real quick and make sure, but I believe in the north room is where I want to be. Actually, I'm wrong. I don't want to go into the room at all yet. I want to go to this secret door right here. You didn't see that, did you? With that opened, that shows me those 2 dispel fields, which is why I had to mix a spell. Cast Dispel. I get that out of the way, and as soon as I step down here, the exit opens. And that takes me straight through here to the ladder. Just, well, I can light the torch now. There it is. Done. So, level 5. There is absolutely nothing I can do here besides go straight down to level 6. Now, on level 6, the way I want to go is just going straight down that same ladder again to level 7. While I'm here, though, because I can, I want to do a couple more things here. because it doesn't go too far out of my way. I'm going to go south twice, east twice. There are some more wind traps in this area, so if you don't take exactly this route, you may run into those. There are also some orbs around here, which I'm not going to use, but I guess you could if you wanted to die quickly. But what I'm actually here for is going back up to level 5. And there are these long hallways full of treasure. I'll certainly covet that. So far, I'm getting pretty lucky with the traps here. No poison yet. Even the ones I am getting, I'm evading. I can't get this. I can get this. Does that leave the chest in the corridor? Yes, it does. Double covet! There's the poison. This one, of course, I remember because I had to do it so bloody much in my childhood. Alright, let's not do that again. Okay, now back on the 6th floor. I want to go... Alright, fine. Okay, the Reaper did not put me to sleep. Well, it did put me to sleep, but it did not affect me too badly. Okay, I want to go south twice again, east twice again, and up this ladder. This is, again, a corridor full of treasure. Or actually 2 corridors. They both wrap around to where you start. So just go straight west or east for a while, that takes you back to the ladder, then go straight north or south for a while. Done. Alright, so I want to go back the way I came from. West twice. North. Okay, I'm turned around. Which way do I want to go? Okay. East twice. North twice. East twice again. North twice again. There it is. Now, as I said, the way that actually takes me to my goal is straight down here. If you take that other ladder that takes you down, it would take you to more or less the same place, but you'd have to go through a couple of annoying rooms with gazers and stuff, and there is really no reason to deal with that whatsoever, so don't do that. Just make sure you come to this specific ladder, the same one that you came down from, if you're following my route. Fine. So, if you take that ladder, you go west a while, that will take you to this ladder here. If you take this ladder, it leads you absolutely nowhere. Don't worry about it. Instead, from that ladder, you want to go north twice to this featureless corridor, where there are actually other exits you can take. Most importantly, you will see through a secret door to the east there is the altar, where I'd find the stone in this dungeon. If you go west, there's a couple of rooms there. It's sea monsters, basically. Squids and water tornado things. That would take you down to the bottom floor. That is where you would actually need to go if you wanted to get to the altar rooms for this dungeon. I'm not going to do that. That is how you'd get there if you wanted to. I just want to go east through the door. Get. Search. Find the orange stone. Done. And, as always, I am getting straight out of here with exit, which requires ADE. Alright, so that is the Dungeon of Covetous. That is one more stone we have. Let's see. XP is doing pretty good. Hopefully I'll get up to my next level by the time I finish all these dungeons. And let's see, I have 6 of the stones. Blue, yellow, red, orange. I still need purple and... what's the other one? I don't remember. Green. That's right, green. So, I'll be getting those next time, and also going in search of that skull so I can lay waste to Britannia, I mean, destroy it forever. That's all for now, though. Thank you for watching, and good night.